Our chief wagon. I mean, this is the biggest, baddest wagon. These things are so cool.
For years, Wayne Carini was the untouchable king of classic car television. But behind the cameras and the polished glow of chasing classic cars, a different story was unfolding. So what exactly happened behind the scenes that left fans wondering whether Wayne had finally lost everything he had built? And how did a man once celebrated for integrity and passion suddenly find himself surrounded by several challenges? Join us as we unravel the truth behind the complicated reality of Wayne Carini. The Pierce Arrow pileup. The story of the 1934 Pierce Arrow coupe is one of the most complicated and reputation-shaking events ever linked to Wayne Carini. It was a legal battle stretching across continents, involving bankruptcy filings, disputed ownership, and accusations that lingered online long after the court concluded its work. It all started in 2010, when Australian antique car collector Robert Richmond traveled to the United States. During that visit, he found a 1934 Pierce Arrow coupe he wanted to buy. But because he couldn't stay long enough to finalize the purchase himself, he relied on an acquaintance, Gary Dixo, to finish up on his behalf. Richmond wired a down payment of $98,000, money sent in total confidence that the car would be shipped to him within weeks. But weeks turned to months and months into years. Still, no car. 6 years later, the situation became even stranger. Gary Dixo had filed for bankruptcy, even though he still had the Pierce Arrow in his possession. Richmond remained patient and trusting until the following year, when Dixo secretly sold the car without telling him. That sale was the moment Wayne unknowingly entered the picture. Gary approached a dealer, Gullwing Motors, who in turn reached out to Wayne not as a seller or middleman, but purely as a respected appraiser. Wayne had never heard of the initial agreement between Dixo and Richmond. He wasn't aware that a buyer in Australia was still waiting for his dream car. He simply did what he was hired to do: evaluate the vehicle's condition and value. After negotiations, Gullwing Motors sold the Pierce Arrow to Wayne for $110,000, a number supported by the documentation they provided. Shortly afterwards, RM Auctions, Incorporated, approached Wayne to buy the same car, and Wayne set a high asking price of $250,000, more as a starting point than an expectation. But to his surprise, RM accepted the price and bought the car quickly. To Wayne, it was a straightforward transaction. He bought a car, then sold it at a profit, and that was the end of it. Except it wasn't. Halfway around the world, Robert Richmond had discovered the truth in the worst possible way by seeing his car listed at auction. Shocked and furious, he launched a lawsuit in 2018 against almost everyone involved. Gary Dixo, Gullwing Motors, F40 Motorsports, and Wayne Carini himself. The legal battle dragged on for 2 years until finally, in June 2020, the court ruled in Richmond's favor. He was declared the rightful owner, and the car had to be returned to him. Wayne, although cleared of wrongdoing, the court confirmed he had purchased the car legally and without knowledge of prior claims. He and the other parties were instructed to help refund the buyer who had purchased the vehicle downstream. Even with no legal fault, the impact was real. Online discussions labeled him as irresponsible or even complicit. Opinions that persisted long after the facts proved otherwise. This case became the first major crack in Wayne's once flawless public image. But was this high-profile lawsuit an isolated incident, or just one of several controversies brewing behind the scenes of chasing classic cars? The Gallardo glitch. While the Pierce Arrow case bruised Wayne's public image, the 2011 Lamborghini Gallardo dispute added even more controversy to his persona. This time, it was a direct complaint from a customer who believed he had been ignored and mistreated. The dispute centered around a 2007 Lamborghini Gallardo, a car known for its razor-sharp styling, powerful V10 engine, and reputation as an entry point into the world of exotic supercars. The buyer, known online as Joe 3112D, claimed that the vehicle was delivered mostly as advertised, with all mechanical components in excellent condition and all listed specifications aligned with what he had paid for. But something was missing. The advertisement had promised a luxury Lamborghini luggage package, valued at approximately $8,000, a premium accessory set that collectors truly care about, because it increases both value and authenticity. Yet when the car arrived, the luggage was nowhere to be found. He immediately contacted F40 Motorsports. At first, the dealership responded with polite assurances that the issue would be resolved quickly. But those assurances did not turn into action. Emails were ignored and several messages went unanswered. Naturally, the customer grew frustrated. By the time 2 months had passed, he felt he had exhausted every reasonable avenue to resolve the issue privately. That was when he filed a formal lawsuit against Wayne and F40 Motorsports. And then something strange happened. The buyer included a saved copy of the original online advertisement, the one showing the luggage package, as part of his court filing. According to him, when he checked later, that same advertisement had mysteriously disappeared from the internet. Whether this was a glitch or an intentional act was never officially determined, but the coincidence fueled more discussion online. Although the lawsuit never reached trial, the situation escalated far beyond the courtroom when the customer posted his entire story on Lamborghini Talk, one of the most active and influential exotic car forums in the world. Once the dispute became public, Wayne personally emailed the buyer. In that message, he claimed that the previous owner had located the missing luggage package. Sure enough, the buyer soon received a FedEx shipment containing the luggage, and unexpectedly, a spare Lamborghini key as well. In his forum post, the buyer emphasized that months of silence from F40 Motorsports had caused unnecessary stress and frustration. For fans of chasing classic cars, this incident began to raise uncomfortable questions. Was Wayne just too busy? Or was this a sign that the friendly television persona didn't match the real-life businessman? What about disputes that are undeniable and come from within Wayne's own team? Loyalty and labor. If there is one controversy that shook fans of chasing classic cars on a personal level, it was the situation surrounding Roger Barr, Wayne's longtime friend, collaborator, and one of the most beloved figures on the show. Before television ever entered Roger's life, he served as a mechanic in the United States Air Force, working on aircraft under demanding conditions. After returning home, he opened his own garage in Connecticut, building a reputation for honesty, work ethic, and technical brilliance. Eventually, he partnered with Wayne at F40 Motorsports, becoming an essential part of both the business and the show. Fans adored him, and many viewers openly stated that they tuned in for Roger as much as, or even more than, for Wayne. But then, something changed. While working at F40 Motorsports, Roger suffered a severe leg infection. The infection hospitalized him in August 2017, forcing him to undergo extensive treatment and months of recovery. He returned to work in November, but the damage to his health was significant. He could no longer maintain the long, physically demanding hours required in the restoration shop. Over time, his condition worsened. He eventually required knee surgery. And that's when a shocking revelation surfaced. Roger's wife launched a GoFundMe campaign to help pay for his medical expenses. But in that fundraiser, she stated publicly that Roger's only income came from his mechanic's salary at the shop, and that he had never been paid for his on-screen role in chasing classic cars. Fans were stunned. How could the man who helped make the show a success, the man Wayne publicly acknowledged as one of the biggest reasons people watched, received no compensation for years of contributing on camera. Immediately, online communities accused the show of exploiting Roger. Some blamed Wayne personally, arguing that he should have supported his friend financially during such a critical time. Others believed the production company was responsible. But regardless of who held the actual responsibility, the optics were undeniably damaging. Roger eventually recovered thanks to the fundraiser's support. He later joined Paddock Car Restorations in New Britain, Connecticut, where he returned to doing what he loved, working on classic cars, quietly, without the glare of television. Wayne, for his part, has never publicly addressed the controversy in detail. He has acknowledged Roger's importance, but he has not commented on the claims related to unpaid work. Roger remains silent as well, choosing to focus on his craft instead of revisiting the painful chapter. Still, for many fans, this dispute marked the moment when the glossy image of chasing classic cars began to show real cracks. It suggested that the world behind the scenes might be far less wholesome than the world shown on TV. With real-world business disputes straining his reputation, how did the glossy, beloved television show that made him famous manage the gap between reality and TV drama? Behind the scenes. For many fans, chasing classic cars feels authentic, and that's a refreshing alternative to overproduced automotive shows. But as more behind-the-scenes information has surfaced, the truth has become more complicated. The show is real in many ways, but like all reality television, it blends genuine events with staged elements, editorial manipulation, and storytelling techniques designed to keep viewers engaged. One of the most misunderstood aspects involves auction prices. On screen, it often appears that buyers and sellers walk away with spectacular deals. But according to multiple industry sources, including coverage from Screen Rant, those prices rarely reflect the full real-world cost. At auctions, including the ones featured on the show, buyers face premiums, fees, paperwork charges, registration costs, and other add-ons that can escalate the final price by thousands of dollars. A car that sells for $100,000 on camera might actually cost the buyer $115,000 or more once fees are added. But that wasn't all. Many vehicles end up at auction precisely because their owners can't sell them elsewhere. Some cars have hidden problems, some have incomplete paperwork, others have mechanical issues not visible on TV. This creates a risky environment where buyers must inspect everything carefully, even when the show portrays each find as a potential treasure. Another behind-the-scenes reality involves Wayne himself. According to Screen Rant and other insider sources, Wayne sometimes plays up his interest in particular cars to create better scenes. This doesn't make him dishonest. It simply reveals how reality TV operates. In the same way that the cast of Pawn Stars doesn't truly know everything, or the hosts of Comic Book Men haven't read every comic ever published, Wayne is not in love with every single car he encounters. Some vehicles interest him, some don't. But the show must portray him as the definitive expert in every scenario. Then there is the financial side of the auctions themselves. Buyers can easily spend more than they intended due to premium percentages, reserve versus no reserve rules, and fluctuating market dynamics. These financial landmines are rarely explained on the show, leaving viewers with an overly simplified version of how risky auctions truly are. None of this necessarily reflects malicious intent, but it does highlight the widening gap between the clean, polished television version of Wayne's World and the messy, unpredictable realities of the classic car industry. Beyond the scripted elements of business and television, what personal challenges has Wayne faced off-camera that reveal a different side of the man? Family on the front lines. While Wayne's professional life has been marked by controversy and constant public attention, his personal life has carried challenges of a far more emotional and intimate nature. Wayne and his wife, Lori Carini, married in 1980, and in a world where fame often brings chaos, their relationship has remained remarkably stable and free from scandal. By 2018, they had celebrated 38 years of marriage, a rare achievement in any industry, especially one as hectic as entertainment. But the most profound part of Wayne's family story involves their eldest daughter, Kimberly, who was diagnosed with autism at a young age. Autism affects communication, social interaction, and behavior in ways that can be unpredictable and deeply challenging. For many families, the diagnosis brings confusion, fear, and a steep learning curve. For the Carinis, it became a mission of love. Instead of hiding the diagnosis, Wayne and Lori embraced transparency. They made sure Kimberly received all the care and support she needed. They created an environment where she could thrive, and they never treated her condition as something to be ashamed of. Over time, Wayne began using his platform to raise awareness about autism. He spoke publicly about how much he values family, how proud he is of Kimberly, and how their journey shaped him as a father and a man. While Kimberly maintains a private life away from the media, she remains a central part of the family's daily routine and emotional foundation. The Carini's openness has helped educate viewers, reduce stigma, and inspire families experiencing similar journeys. Given this deeply personal and admirable advocacy, how do fans feel when they walk away from meetings with Wayne? The Carini conundrum. Despite all of the challenges Wayne Carini has faced, his career has barely suffered. Chasing classic cars continues to deliver high ratings. F40 Motorsports stays active in the collector car market. His net worth is estimated to exceed $20 million, bolstered by decades of successful restoration work, smart investments, and a massive global fan base. But not all fan experiences are positive. In fact, many viewers have expressed something surprising, that meeting Wayne in person can feel like a classic example of never meet your heroes. Some fans describe him as focused primarily on business rather than passion. They argue that behind the smile and the handshake is a man whose topmost priority is profit, not car culture. Others claim he behaves like a flipper, seeking undervalued vehicles with the intent of reselling them quickly for a higher margin. To some collectors, this makes him appear more opportunistic than passionate. Supporters say he is simply doing what any professional would do in a competitive industry. But critics feel betrayed by the difference between the patient expert portrayed on television and the more distant, business-centered personality they experience in real life. Yet, despite mixed reviews from fans, Chasing Classic Cars has experienced some of its highest ratings in the last couple of years. Astonishingly, even after being on air for nearly a decade, the show is still climbing in popularity, and Wayne Carini remains a powerful legend. After hearing all of this, do you still see him as the hero of the classic car world? Or has your view changed forever? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.